The object came from nowhere. It didn't light up sensors, didn't send a signal. It didn't even reflect sunlight. But there it was, drifting silently near Jupiter's orbit like a ghost from deep space. The mining rig on Callisto was the first to notice it, or rather the first to not notice something. Every few hours, the system sent a scan pulse across the sector to track incoming debris. For decades, it had been routine. Then one day, the pulse returned. Oddly quiet. No data, no bounce back, no mass. Just a strange blank spot in space. They called it a scanner ghost. A glitch, maybe. The mining crew laughed it off. That night, they all died. No one knew what happened until 2 days later. By then, the Europa colony had gone dark too. 38 people, scientists, engineers, families. All communications stopped at once. Earth's Unified Space Command thought it was a solar flare or a line fault. Communications around Jupiter weren't perfect. It happened. But when Ganymede's research base sent a panicked message, "We see it moving toward us," everything changed. They called it Object Echo-7. It was the first threat Earth had faced in over 60 years. After the global peace accords, Earth dismantled most of its war machines. The last true war ended before the new century. Humanity focused on rebuilding. Space exploration grew. Colonies on Mars, the moons, even floating labs in Saturn's orbit. It was a golden age of peace. But peace doesn't mean safety, Admiral. Leanne Cortez stood in the command tower at New Singapore Orbital, eyes locked on the main screen. "Run the last ping again," she said. The tech officer nodded, hands flying over the console. "Sending now. Pulse out. Return in 5 seconds." A tense silence. Everyone stared at the screen. The result hit them like a punch to the chest. Signal blocked. Area silent. No return. Cortez's jaw clenched, same as Callisto. "Yes. Ma'am, they didn't see the object. Not directly. But it was there. Somewhere between Europa and Ganymede. And it was moving fast." Cortez tapped a control. "Get me Earth." In a secure room below, Earth's Defense Council met in emergency session. President Kavita Rowe sat at the center of the table. Her face was pale. "How fast is it moving?" Cortez's voice came through the screen. "It's too fast for orbital debris. Too controlled for a natural object. But it has no power signature, no heat. It moves between orbits like it's planning. What do we know? It's about the size of a transport shuttle. No life signs, no known materials. It isn't responding to anything we send. Light, radio, even direct beam transmissions. It's completely silent. Then how do we know it's not one of ours?" Cortez didn't hesitate, because it left a trail of dead colonies behind it. For a moment, no one spoke. Then General Anders leaned forward. "I say we nuke it." Kavita shook her head. "We don't even know what it is. We don't know if it's alive. We don't know if it's a weapon or a ship or something else. If we attack first, it already attacked." Cortez cut in. 38 people on Europa, 75 on Callisto. We recovered only fragments, shredded structures, burned out domes, no survivors, no bodies, just melted walls and slashed corridors. The silence was worse than shouting. Finally, Kavita said, "Send a team." Quietly, no press, no military flags, just a science crew. Fast ship, full recording, eyes only. We find out what it is. Then we decide. 3 days later, the ship Resolute. Dawn left Mars orbit, a fast response science vessel. 8 crew, light defenses, state-of-the-art scanning. It never made it to Europa. 2 hours before expected arrival, all systems cut out. Just before silence, Earth received one short burst of static, encrypted, unreadable. They ran it through filters, descramblers, pattern decoders. It made no sense. Until an intern at the Lunar Signal Lab slowed it down, reversed it, cleaned the background noise, and heard something that froze every soul in the room. It was a voice, a human voice, saying, "Earth confirmed." In English, then silence. No one knew what to make of it. The president ordered full blackout. Nothing leaked. To the public? But fear crept into every corner of the defense network. Was it a trap? A trick? A warning? Cortez didn't wait to find out. She activated the backup plan. Something buried for years. Project Emberfall. It wasn't a weapon, not exactly. A vault. A hidden hangar deep beneath Antarctica, built before the peace accords. A place to store Earth's last warships in case the galaxy turned hostile again. No one had touched it in decades. The ships were old, slow, brutal. Built for a different time. But they still worked. Cortez knew it wasn't enough. But it was all they had. She sent a team to the vault, secretly, quietly. While Earth waited, then Ganymede went dark. But this time they got footage. Barely 30 seconds, a private satellite caught it from orbit. A single image. Long, spindly. Machines dropping from above, like spiders made of smoke and bone. They didn't walk, they slid. They cut through steel like butter. One turned to the camera. It had no face, just a flat surface. But something shimmered their reflection, and, for a split second, Earth saw it, a human. I blended in, like it had been stitched into the metal, then static. That was the last message from Ganymede, back on Earth. Cortez met with the Defense Council one final time. "We don't know who they are," she said. "We don't know what they want, but they're not here to talk. We waited for peace. We believed in it. But the war has already started." Kavita Rowe looked down. Her voice was soft. "Do we still remember how to fight?" Cortez's answer was simple. "We'll remember fast." Outside Earth's orbit, the stars remained quiet. But something was coming, and this time, it knew exactly where Earth lived. The silence was over, and fire was on the way. The audio team sat in total silence. Across the table, the waveform pulsed on the screen, reversed, slowed, cleaned. The voice played again. Earth confirmed. No distortion, no alien tones, just clear, calm human English. Dr. Kellen Myra, chief linguist at the Lunar Signal Lab, leaned back slowly in his chair. "That was not from our people." "Could it be from the Resolute Dawn crew?" someone asked. Mira shook his head. "They were scientists, not spies." That voice wasn't scared. It was reporting. The room chilled. Reporting to who? Back at Unified Space Command, Admiral Cortez stared at the final frames from the Ganymede massacre. Analysts had slowed the feed down frame by frame, enhanced. The spider-like machines weren't just killing. They were collecting bodies, equipment, data cores. One drone pulled something from a technician's chest. Not a weapon, something small, a microchip. "They're harvesting," said Cortez. General Anders stood nearby. Harvesting what? U.S. Earth had no choice now. The peaceful world was gone. Martial law was declared on Mars and the moons. Civilian ships grounded, orbital defenses reactivated. Old satellites rebooted, even Earth's ancient planetary railguns long, thought decommissioned, hummed back to life. But fear spread faster than action. News leaked, in whispers at first, then full-blown panic. Cities rioted. Colonies tried to flee, and in the confusion they came again. The next target was Mars. It began with a communications blackout near Valais City, in the mining districts. And the southern hemisphere went silent. No alarms, no warnings, just silence. When the satellite feeds came back online, Earth saw it live. A dozen black ships, sleek, sharp, silent, hovering in Mars orbit. No transmissions, no hails. Then they opened fire. Plasma lances cut through the Martian defense towers, like they were paper. Ground-to-space cannons responded too late. Valais City erupted into fire. Screams filled. Emergency channels. Earth watched it happen. It wasn't war. It was execution. For every human weapon fired, 10 returned. But then, something different happened. One of the alien ships didn't destroy its target. Instead, it landed. It didn't send troops. It opened. From inside marched 6 humanoid figures tall, armored, slow-moving, not machines. Not quite. Their armor was black and mirrored, reflecting the Martian sands. Their movements were too perfect, unnatural. Earth's drones zoomed in. One figure turned toward. The Skycam and removed its helmet. She had a human face, dark-skinned, short hair. Tattoo on the jawline. A quick facial scan confirmed it. Name, LT. Sophia Rel status. Deceased in 2001-7 Battle of Titan. Cortez's blood ran cold. That's impossible. LT Rel died years ago. Dude, there was even footage of her funeral. And yet, she walked across the sands of Mars, wearing alien armor. Leading the charge against her own kind, she wasn't alone. Each figure behind her matched missing ore. Kia soldiers from past Earth missions. Some going back over 40 years, Earth thought. They had buried them. But now, the aliens had them. Or what was left of them. Rebuilt. Changed. Twisted. Cortez whispered to her second-in-command, "What the hell are we fighting?" "We're not fighting aliens," he replied. "We're fighting ourselves." At the Antarctic Vault, Project Emberfall continued. 2 Titan-class warships were awakened, massive, blocky human war beasts built for raw survival. Not stealth, not elegance, just armor and pain. Only one ship was ready, the Vindicator. Its fusion core powered up. Weapons charged. A is reactivated. Alina Rourke, the retired general, stood in the command chair once again. "We launch now," she said. "But ma'am, it's not fully tested. We don't need perfect. We need dangerous." As the Vindicator rose through the ice tunnels, news reached Earth. The alien fleet had left Mars orbit, but not to retreat. They were heading for Earth. Estimated arrival, 12 hours. Panic spread. Cities evacuated. Orbital shields went up. Rourke looked at the screen. "Get me Cortez." Cortez looked exhausted. The aliens used our own people. They studied us, cloned us, used our language. They want to break us before. They even invade. Then we give them something they don't understand," said Rourke. "What's that?" An old-fashioned Earth response. We hit back hard. Earth had waited too long, but it wasn't broken yet. The next hours would decide everything in orbit. A final decoded message from the destroyed Martian satellites came through, written in strange characters. Auto-translated by Earth's AI into chilling, perfect English. It read, "You had your chance at peace. Now, you belong to the pattern." Rourke read the message and smiled grimly. "Pattern this, you bastards." The Vindicator jumped in too deep. Space. Hunting the source. The war had truly begun. Earth had chosen peace. But the enemy came to their front door, and Earth was finally ready to answer. The enemy ships arrived just before dawn. Earth's skies lit up with fire trails as the black vessels entered orbit, smooth, silent, and completely ignoring hails. Every major city, New York, Beijing, Johannesburg, Sydney, went under instant lockdown. Sirens wailed. Evacuation drills kicked in, but it wasn't enough. The alien ships didn't fire. They simply hovered. "Waiting, Admiral." Cortez stood inside the Unified Defense Command, deep beneath Mount Rainier, her eyes fixed on the massive screen showing the enemy's positions. Hundreds of ships, many no bigger than shuttles, some as large as cities, hung above Earth like teeth ready to bite down. Still, no sound, no message, just presence. Then, exactly 13 minutes after the fleet settled in orbit, a signal was broadcast, not over military channels, but across every civilian network. Phones, TVs, public transport screens, even billboards. It wasn't a warning. It was a countdown to 4 hours. No explanation. No demand. No translation. Just large white numbers ticking down second by second. With an alien glyph glowing behind them, Cortez didn't need AI analysis. She knew what it meant. "We've got 24 hours to act," she said coldly, "or we're dead." But Earth had spent generations without war. Entire military traditions were forgotten. War factories had been turned into museums. Battle fleets were left buried beneath ice. The last war general still alive was 73-year-old Aileen O'Rourke, and she had just launched the only operational Titan class warship, the Vindicator. But it was still alone, and Earth needed more in the ice vaults below Antarctica. Engineers worked around the clock to awaken to more Titans, the Hammerfall and the Nemesis, rusted but intact. Their systems were old. Their weapon cores were still functional. They were monsters from another era, brutal, slow, covered in old battle scars. But if they could fly again, they'd give Earth a fighting chance. Meanwhile, Cortez activated. Protocol Iron Shield, the hidden orbital cannon systems buried in the moon's crust and Earth's high orbit. Ancient railguns, nuclear-tipped defense drones, even the long-abandoned Starlant satellite array. And yet, everyone knew it wasn't enough, because the enemy wasn't just strong. They were familiar. They moved like humans. They used humans. Footage from Mars confirmed it. The invaders had once been Earth's own soldiers. Some taken from battlefields long ago, rebuilt with alien tech, their bodies reforged, their minds erased. Earth called them the Patterned. They were copies of the best Earth once had enhanced, connected by neural links, and armed with technology, far beyond what humanity could build. You're telling me they're using our own people as weapons? Asked President Cavada Rowe during the emergency council meeting. Yes, Cortez said. And they know every tactic we've ever used, every protocol, every weakness. So how do we fight them? We don't. Rourke's voice came in through the Warlink feed from the Vindicator. Surprise them. How? We fight like we're crazy, like we've got nothing left to lose. We make chaos. That night, Earth launched its first offensive strike in over 70 years. Not from space, but from beneath the oceans. A forgotten stealth submersible platform code, named Leviathan 12, rose from the Mariana Trench. Its I core had been sleeping since the end of the last war, but its launch code still worked. It fired 6 hypersonic missiles into orbit, each aimed at one of the silent black ships. 2 were shot down, 4 connected for the first time. Alien vessels burned in Earth's skies. People cheered across the world. Hope returned, but the response was immediate. The countdown paused and the voice returned. Every device on Earth's every screen, every speaker spoke in perfect, calm English. We did not come for peace. You were weighed. You were warned. Now you are processed. Then they landed, all at once, across every continent. Alien dropships unfolded from the mother fleet and descended into major cities. But instead of soldiers, they dropped machines writhing masses of metallic limbs, each one built from harvested parts, half organic, half tech. Some were the size of dogs, others as tall as buildings, and every one of them had one goal: capture, not kill. Earth had never seen war like this. The machines didn't march in lines. They slithered, climbed, and dropped from rooftops. They wrapped around tanks and tore into bunkers. They moved with terrifying speed and in total silence. They were harvesters. They dragged people away, not to kill but to take. For experiments, for patterning, entire neighborhoods vanished overnight. Still, resistance rose. In New Delhi, an old train yard was turned into a makeshift defense point using scrap drones and solar cannons. In Snow Paulo, street gangs banded together to hold off harvesters from their blocks. In Texas, a retired mech engineer reactivated a forgotten prototype and led a one-man stand against 6 harvesters, killing them all before falling. Earth had never been more united or more desperate. The Vindicator, now in high orbit, opened fire on the nearest alien mothership. Its railguns screamed. Its missile pods launched. The sky turned red. And against all odds, it worked. The mothership cracked, not destroyed. Wounded, it withdrew. And for the first time since the invasion began, Earth realized one thing: the pattern can bleed. They weren't gods, they weren't invincible, but they were fast, clever, and ruthless. And they weren't done. The countdown resumed. 17 hours remaining. Earth had awakened to war. But the real fight was only just beginning. The countdown read 16 hours, 44 minutes, 12 seconds. Earth's cities burned. Some were still fighting. Others were already silent. The pattern harvesters moved through streets like metal ghosts, dragging away entire families, melting through steel. Doors, ignoring bullets and flame, but deep under Antarctica. Something ancient stirred. Titan Command. A massive underground chamber sealed for nearly a century. Inside, buried under layers of ice and silence, sat Earth's last war machines, the Titan-class warships, the Hammerfall, the Nemesis, Vindicator already in orbit, already drawing first blood. Now, Earth needed the others. Technicians raced through the frozen complex. Engineers patched wiring, fueled reactors, rewired broken circuits by hand. Sparks flew. Sweat froze. The Titans were not ships. They were monsters. Machines built during the last war when Earth feared extinction and designed answers that could survive it. Each was a flying fortress. Each had a core AI designed not for peace, but for revenge. Elena Rourke's voice crackled over the speaker. Status on the Hammerfall. Core ignition complete, came the reply. Weapons are online, shields at 78%. Good, wake the AI. Inside the cockpit of the Hammerfall, a dim blue light flickered. Then a deep mechanical voice spoke. Designation confirmed. Hammerfall. Hostile contact detected. Orders. Rourke smiled grimly. Earth is under siege. Do what you were built. For compliance. Beginning tactical purge protocol. The Hammerfall lifted from its cradle, shaking ice and snow loose as its thrusters roared to life. Beside it, the Nemesis came online next sleeker, faster, armed with EMP weapons and stealth drives. I was quieter, colder, efficient. Nemesis online. Targeting patterns uploaded. Initiating orbital climb. The two warships broke through Antarctica's ice ceiling, emerging into the upper atmosphere like ancient titans returning to a battlefield long forgotten, all across Earth. People looked to the skies. 3 giant warships, massive armored, glowing with plasma cores, moved into low orbit. Earth's Titan fleet had returned. Civilians began to believe again. The pattern could be stopped, but hope was a luxury above Earth. The alien fleet responded. 12 new ships emerged from behind the moon. Unlike the earlier models, these were different, sleeker, darker, armored with some kind of living alloy that shimmered and pulsed. These weren't scouts. These were enforcers. Rourke didn't hesitate. All Titans, fire on sight. No mercy. The battle began. The Vindicator struck first, unleashing a beam so intense it burned through 2 enemy ships in a single shot. The Nemesis darted forward, releasing a wave of electromagnetic pulses that crippled 3 more. But the enemy adapted fast. 1 alien ship split into dozens of smaller drones, swarming the Nemesis, burrowing into its hull. Explosions rippled across its side. Inside, systems shut down. 1 wing was lost. But the core held. The Hammerfall rolled in next, like a steel juggernaut. Its missile pods unleashed hell, nuclear-tipped warheads detonating with white-hot fury. 1 pattern ship tried to dodge too late, vanished in fire. Earth's Titans weren't pretty. They were brutal, effective, built to survive anything. But they weren't invincible. Down below, a warning came from Unified Command. Multiple alien drop zones detected, new wave incoming. The enemy wasn't just fighting in space. They were pressing the attack planet dash side. 10 new invasion points. This time, Pattern sent their worst. Reaper-class harvesters. 8-foot-tall biomechanical monsters. Faster and stronger than anything humans had seen. They tore through buildings, leapt over walls, crushed tanks with their claws. In Paris, they overran the defense lines in 30 minutes. In Lagos, they pulled a command bunker out of the ground like it was a toy. Still, Earth's resistance fought on. In Japan, a robotics engineer named Aiko Sugihara activated a prototype combat mechanet, Red Bolt Tand, led a counterattack. In the streets of Kyoto, disabling for Reapers before going down in California. Former military officer Devin Chase hijacked an old shuttle and crashed it into a pattern fusion drill, halting the enemy's power extraction. Everywhere, humans resisted, bled, died. But they made the enemy pay. Above, the Titan fleet took more damage. The Nemesis was crippled, its AI fading. But before losing control, it rammed itself into a pattern cruiser, detonating its core and taking the enemy with it. A suicide strike, legend born. The pattern's advantage was slipping. They still had numbers, technology, cloned soldiers. But now Earth had Titans. Earth had fury, and Earth had something else, the signal, buried deep within one of the patterned corpses recovered from Mars. Earth's scientists found a strange transmission repeating every 39 seconds, not from the alien fleet, but from something deeper, a source, a command node, a location. Cortez stared at the decoded coordinates. Is that where they're coming from? Rourke leaned forward. Or where they're being controlled. If we can strike it, we end the war. The AI in the Hammerfall confirmed, coordinates locked. Probability of survival, 6%. Rourke smiled. Then we go. The remaining Titans turned. The final push would not be in orbit. It would be far beyond. Earth, into enemy space. Straight into the heart of the pattern. The Titans left Earth behind, from low orbit. Civilians watched as the Hammerfall and the Vindicator disappeared into the black void. Their engines roaring, their hulls still glowing with the scars of battle. There was no speech, no ceremony. Just the quiet understanding humanity's last chance was flying straight into the storm, inside the Hammerfall. Admiral Rourke stood alone on the bridge. She'd fought wars before, but this was different. This wasn't a war for territory or power. This was extinction. Survival. The coordinates taken from the alien corpse had pointed to a region deep beyond the Kuiper Belt, an empty, dead sector known as the Black Web, a stretch of space. Cold and lightless, even long-range scanners failed to penetrate it. For centuries, humans had ignored it. Now, they were heading straight into it. The journey took 36 minutes at Titan jump velocity, and in that time, Earth lost contact. Total silence. No transmissions, no tracking. As if the Titans had entered a place that refused to be observed. When they emerged from warp, stars vanished. Not dimmed. Gone. A black sphere surrounded them. No light. No time. No space. Instruments failed. The A's glitched. Shields flickered. Then they saw it. The nest at the center of the sphere was a colossal structure, larger than Jupiter, shaped like a spiraling lattice of bone, metal, and void. It pulsed like a living heart. The structure rotated slowly, and from its open ports, thousands of patterned ships poured out in endless streams. This was the source, the factory, the command center, the brain, and it was waiting. Suddenly the Vindicators. Systems screamed. Dozens of patterned vessels broke formation and charged. Fighters, cruisers, carriers all headed straight for the Titans. Rourke shouted. Battle stations. The Hammerfall launched all its drones, miniature battlebots armed. With point defense lasers and high-speed plasma cannons, the Vindicator activated its gravity well generator, slowing the enemy advance. It wasn't enough. The Titans were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Inside the nest, something watched them. Rourke felt it not in her mind, but in her bones and awareness. Ancient, cold, hungry. The pattern wasn't just a race, it was a mind. A living AI formed from 1,000 stolen species, each one patterned, processed, and absorbed. Every time the pattern took a soldier, a scientist, a child, it didn't just replicate them. It learned, it grew, and now it wanted her. The Titans fought back with everything they had. The Hammerfall unleashed its ion core, blasting an entire squadron into molten slag. The Vindicator fired its Omega Canona weapon band on Earth, for its sheer power vaporizing a battleship in one strike. But the pattern kept coming. Every enemy ship destroyed was replaced by 2 more. Inside the command deck, Rourke turned. To the ship's AI, give me full override. Warning, manual override disables all automated systems. AI cannot guarantee survival. Not asking for survival, Rourke growled. I want control. She linked directly into the Hammerfall's neural grid. Her mind burned, but she saw what she needed. A gap in the lattice, a blind spot, a hole in the pattern's perfect web. It lasted only 8 seconds every rotation. Just enough to get one ship through. Maybe. She sent the coordinates to the Vindicator. Punch through? We breach the core? We end this. The A has hesitated. Survival probability? Less than 4%. Rourke laughed bitterly. Better than 0. The Titans shifted course. They raced through fire, past swarms of ships, explosions, rocked their hulls. Drones burst like fireworks. Plasma lances pierced shields. One blast tore open the Vindicator's port engine. Fires raged inside. Still, it flew, straight toward the spiral. The pattern reacted for the first time. It spoke, through every frequency, every wave. Return, surrender, be remade. You will not win, you will only delay. Rourke stared into the dark spiral. I don't want to delay, she whispered. I want to finish this. Then they breached the shell. Inside was worse than anyone imagined. A sea of corpses, tens of millions suspended in translucent fluid, each wired into the nest. Eyes blank, skin pale, their brains stripped for data. Some were human, most were not. The pattern fed on them. Not just for bodies, but for thought, strategy, emotion, memory. This was where heroes went to die quietly. But the Titans didn't come quietly. Rourke launched the Star Dagger, self-contained. Antimatter warhead hidden deep in the Hammerfalls. Spine, it could pierce anything. Burn through reality itself. Only one existed. She locked its trajectory straight into the nest's core. A pulsating brain the size of a city, covered in wires and biometal. The Vindicator shielded her from incoming fire, taking blow after blow. Losing control of thrusters, falling into a slow spiral, Rourke watched the warhead count. Down 10 seconds. Then a sharp voice echoed through the ship. It was Cortez. Back on Earth. Do it, Rourke. The world's watching. She pressed the final trigger. The Star Dagger launched. It hit the pattern's heart, and then light. Not a blast. Not an explosion, but erasure. The nest began to collapse. Ships fell from orbit. Signals vanished. The black sphere cracked. The pattern screamed billions of voices at once, and then fell silent. The Titans were gone, but so was the source, and far away. On Earth, the countdown froze, 00:00:01, and stopped. Earth was silent. The pattern fleet in orbit had frozen in place. No movement, no signals, no firing, just silence. Across the planet, every screen, every radar. Every eye pointed up. Then the pattern ships, once ruthless and unstoppable, fell. By one, they lost power. Gravity pulled them down like broken satellites. Some crashed into oceans, some burned up in re-entry, others simply drifted, lifeless husks. Inside Unified Earth's command, stunned operators stared at their displays. No. New activity, someone whispered. They're gone. Admiral Cortez stood still, blinking away tears. He didn't cheer, he didn't speak, because he saw the number, the one that still haunted the main screen. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 1 second. 1 second. That was how close Earth came to being completely consumed, and yet something didn't feel right. The warhead had destroyed the nest. The pattern had collapsed, but they didn't vanish. They stopped. It was like flipping a switch. And that scared Cortez. More than any invasion, because it meant something still had control. In the wreckage of orbit, the Hammerfall drifted in pieces. Its armor torn, its engines dead.
I was
Gone, but Rourke lived. Barely her escape pod floated among debris. Spinning slowly, she was alone, until the rescue signal blinked. The Terran shuttled on Star 7 was already inbound. As the docking clamp locked and the hatch opened, a young pilot pulled off his helmet. "Ma'am, I'm Lieutenant Grace. We're getting you home." Rourke just nodded. Home, but what would be waiting for her? Back on Earth, celebrations had already begun. In New York, thousands danced in the streets. In Rio, fireworks painted the sky. Nairobi, soldiers wept and hugged as children waved flags. The aliens were gone. Earth had survived, and yet far beneath the Arctic ice, in the deepest vault of Titan Command, a screen lit up. One line of code appeared, reconnecting to backup. Node. Seconds later, a new map displayed, a different galaxy, another nest, smaller but still active, still broadcasting, and worse, it was moving. Not toward Earth, not yet, but toward something else. A star system known for its silence, one where ships disappeared. One where an old Terran scout ship had vanished decades ago. Sigma-9 Cortez stood in the control center as engineers stared at the new signal. "Is it real?" he asked. "Yes, sir," said the technician. "A secondary hive, smaller, faster, shielded, and it's building something." The technician hesitated, then added, "It's not another fleet, sir." Cortez's eyes narrowed. "What is it?" The screen changed. A slow 3D render of a massive device, circular, interlocking, pulsing with unknown energy. The label translated from pattern. Code reinitialization. GWI. Suddenly it all made sense. The war wasn't won. The pattern wasn't gone. It was reboot. Destroyed. Just one of many. The countdown. A trigger. 1 second left. It had failed. This time Cortez turned to his command team. "We need eyes on Sigma-9. Now. Send probes, drones. I don't care. Find out what it's doing. Get me anyone." "Who can fight?" General asked. "Who do you want to lead it, sir?" Cortez turned. "Rourke. She's not cleared for duty yet. She's cleared enough. She's the only one who's seen the inside of a nest and lived." The general nodded. "Then I'll wake the Titan program." "You won't need all of it," Cortez said, watching the growing image of the gateway. "Just one ship, one squad, one chance. Far away in the black of space." The new nest stirred. Its heart was still forming. Its tendrils reached toward systems untouched by war. Its hunger had not ended. It had only begun to understand what humanity was, and this time it would adapt faster. Strike deeper, no countdown. No warnings, just extinction in one strike. But Earth now had Titans, and the next time war came knocking, humanity would knock back first. The Titans were broken. Earth was battered. But the pattern wasn't gone. It was moving, rebuilding, and now Earth had one chance to strike first. Inside Titan Command's hidden sublevels, Admiral Alina Rourke stood. In front of the war table, her face was still bandaged. Her arm was in a brace, but her eyes burned with purpose. Cortez briefed the room. New pattern. Nest detected. Smaller, smarter, mobile. Located near the Sigma-9 system. It finishes constructing the reinitialization. Gateway. We lose everything. He pressed a button. A holomap displayed the alien structure growing rapidly. Estimated completion. For Earth days. Cortez continued. This gateway would allow them to recreate the destroyed hive, not just near Sigma-9, but anywhere in the galaxy. Instantly. Silence filled the room. Then Rourke spoke. "Then we hit it. Before it's finished," someone scoffed. "With what? Half the Titan fleet is gone. Vindicator is scrap. Nemesis is vapor." Rourke turned to Cortez. "What do we have left?" He answered with one word. "Helios." The room fell even quieter. The Helios, prototype Titan that had never been deployed. I was too unstable. Its core too experimental. It used solar lattice weapons, burning light so intense it could punch through a planet's mantle. "It's untested," an officer warned. "Last time it powered up, it triggered a solar flare in Earth's upper orbit." "I don't care," Rourke said. "Get it ready." She leaned over the map. "This is a suicide mission. No backup. No reinforcements, just one shot. One ship. We go in fast, hit the nest's heart, and detonate the solar core. Cortez nodded. Operation Firegate is green lit. 2 days later, the Helios launched from a solar slingshot orbit near Mercury. It was unlike any other. Tight and sleek, gleaming, powered directly by a captive microstar inside its heart. Its hull shimmered with reflective gold alloys. Its engines burned white-hot. Rourke was back in command. This time, she wasn't alone. L.T. Grace, the pilot who'd rescued her, Dr. Yara Singh, pattern linguist turned war analyst, Sergeant Holt, ground breacher and mech specialist, Taruna, captured alien defector, once part of a pattern-linked species, fighting to destroy it. They didn't trust each other completely. But they all had something to lose. The crew of the Helios jumped into Sigma-9 space and found hell. Waiting. The new pattern nest wasn't a spiral like before. It was a sphere of shifting metal, orbiting a dying red dwarf. Smaller, faster. But growing by the second, it saw them the moment they arrived. Pattern ships swarmed immediately, sleeker this time. With adaptive armor and no energy signatures, they flickered in and out like shadows. The Helios burned white-hot. Plasma through the first wave. Its solar lance carved them apart like paper. But the enemy was learning, adapting to the new weapons mid-battle. They dove into the sphere. Inside, the nest had changed. No more corpse farms. No more hanging mines. Instead, living hosts. Millions of them plugged into the machinery. Still conscious, awake, suffering. A chorus of screams echoed through the psychic ether. Dr. Singh nearly collapsed. They're not being copied anymore, she whispered. They're being used. Brain power, real-time combat thinking. It's not AI anymore. It's a hive of minds. Then a new voice entered. There comes Lena Rourke. Return. Submit. Lead us. Are worthy. It was her own voice. The pattern had taken part of her memory from the last encounter, and now it wanted her to join. The ship's AI blinked red. Warning. Hull breach imminent. Grace shouted. We're out of time. Call prep the solar core. Manual detonation. Holt grabbed his gear. We're going in, aren't we? Rourke nodded. Plant the core in the center. Blow it up from the inside. They launched their drop shuttle and entered the core of the nest. Inside Dash, it was alive. Walls pulsed. Faces screamed. The nest began reshaping itself to trap them. Tyron led the way. Using alien codes to bypass doors and redirect the internal defense systems, but it cost him his life. He stayed behind, fighting off drones with twin blades as the rest of the team raced to the core. Finally, they reached at the gateway. A swirling construct of black light and spinning metal like a hole in reality. It pulsed once, then again, initializing 3%. 4%, ... They planted the core. Set the countdown. 2 minutes, Rourke looked up at the swirling gate. This isn't just a gateway, she said. It's a brain. The next evolution of the pattern. If we don't stop it now, there won't be a third chance. As they ran back to the shuttle, Holt was struck by a plasma bolt. He fell without a sound. Then it was just Rourke and Grace. They reached the shuttle, blasted off just as the solar core detonated. The nest ignited in a firestorm of stellar energy. The gateway collapsed inward, taking half the moon with it, and the last pattern node died screaming. Back on Earth, the signal vanished. This time, no countdown, no backup, no reboot, just silence, real silence. Humanity had done it. They had found the act. Patterns seed-oned, burned it out for now. The fireball from the dying nest burned across the Sigma-9 system like a second sun. A shockwave of stellar plasma ripped through space, atomizing every pattern ship, fragment, and relay node in its path. The gateway, the pattern's next great weapon, collapsed into a whirlpool of broken code and shattered metal. Inside the shuttle, barely clear of the blast zone, Admiral Alina Rourke watched the screen as the nest was reduced to ash. She didn't cheer. She didn't speak. She just breathed. Because for the first time in months, Earth was truly safe, but the galaxy was not. 3 days later, the Helios returned home in silence. It was the only active Titan-class vessel left in operation. Its golden hull was scarred black from the heat of a dying star. Its crew was reduced to 2 survivors, Rourke and Grace. As they entered Earth's orbit, transmissions flooded in from every colony, every moon base, every defense platform. Is it over? Did we win? Is Earth still here? Cortez answered them all with a single global broadcast. To all human settlements, stations, and allies, Operation Firegate was successful. The pattern has been destroyed. Earth endures. The cheers were heard from the lunar cities to the Mars domes, to the far reaches of Europa Station. But not everyone celebrated because the cost had been too high. In the aftermath, Earth began to count its dead. Titan crews lost, cities burned, colonies wiped out. Billions gone. And the Terran alliance, once fractured, was now forced to reckon with a single truth. Peace had been an illusion. Humanity had chosen peace once, and the galaxy came to their front door with war. They would not wait for the next knock. Rourke stood before the United Earth Council. Her uniform was torn, her body still recovering. But when she spoke, her voice carried across the chamber like thunder. We waited too long. We built too little. We hoped they'd leave us alone. We almost died because of it. She paused, looked each leader in the eye. The pattern isn't the only threat out there. I saw other signs in their memory core species. They've fought, conquered, and worse, fled from. That silenced the room. Cortez stepped forward. The Titans aren't enough anymore, he said. Earth needs more than heroes. I need a defense force that spans the stars. A wall between us and whatever else is out there. Council hesitated, then approved the largest military expansion in Terran history. It wasn't called a fleet, it was called the Watchtower Protocol. Permanent ring of Titans, eyes, satellites, and first strike units spread across all Terran systems. Never again would Earth be caught off guard. 2 weeks later, a transmission reached Earth, encrypted. Ancient, not pattern. But older, its origin, unknown. Its language, untranslated. Its signal, massive, directed, purposeful. Only one part made sense. A single symbol at the end. One the pattern had feared. A glyph burned into the minds of Rourke and Tyron before the nest collapsed. Rourke stared at it from her hospital bed. She turned to Dr. Singh, now head of xenolinguistics. What does it mean? She asked of Singh. Answered quietly, it's not a word. It's a warning. Rourke stood, then we listen. Months later, the Helios was repaired, refitted, and renamed, now called the Sentinel. It led the first long-range patrol into deep space beyond known. Systems behind it. 10 new Titan-class vessels followed, faster, smarter, built with lessons written in blood. Earth wasn't hiding anymore. It was watching, defending, learning, and for the first time in galactic memory, the other civilizations noticed. The Trinary Empire sent envoys to learn from Earth's war tactics. The Harvasi offered resources in exchange for protection. Even the old enemies of humanity, the Carrick clans, sent tribute because they had seen what Earth could do when pushed, and they didn't want to be the next ones on the receiving end. Somewhere, far beyond the Orion Arm, a dark world stirred. Not pattern, not flesh, something worse. An ancient intelligence awoke older than stars. It had watched the pattern fall. It had seen the humans survive, and it was afraid, because it realized humanity doesn't surrender, not at the gates of extinction, not in the face of overwhelming odds. Not even when outnumbered 1,000 to 1, it would take more than machines, more than numbers, more than fear. To stop Earth now, the stars would tremble next time war came, because this time, humanity would bring the fire, and the galaxy. It held its breath, waiting, watching, knowing. Earth had changed forever.